Action Heroes project-based leadership training. When most of us hear the word or the phrase or the idea action heroes, we think of the folks we see in the movies, right? And all too often, they solve problems with violence. Superman solves problems with violence. Batman solves problems with violence. Spider-Man. If we think about our action heroes, the people we think of in that way, they solve problems with violence, even when they're the good guys. And I think on some level, that's not the best possible message for our kids. Wouldn't it be neat if we could connect the idea of being an action hero to being a hero through your actions? And the idea behind project-based leadership training is we can talk about leadership forever and ever and ever, and it doesn't mean much until we do something about it. It's sort of like riding a bike. You can talk about riding a bike forever and ever, but until you actually get on a bike, you're not riding. And so the fusion of those two ideas, action heroes, heroes through your actions, project-based leadership training, which would mean that you select a project, something that you feel creates value for other people, solves a problem of some kind, and then you get with me and I help you accumulate the resources and organize the resources that you might need, and then you'd be able to go forth and take action on that project. So again, action heroes, project-based leadership training. We want to be heroes through our actions rather than through violence, and that we choose a project, something that solves a problem or creates value for other people. We gather the necessary resources, we organize the resources, people, and then we take action on solving that problem or creating that value for other people. What would some examples be? Well, a low-end example would be one of our littler girls is working on helping the pound. And do they need food? Do they need dog toys? Do they need blankets? Do they need, more brooms? Who knows? But whatever they might need, she's planning on taking that on as her project. There may be some fundraising involved or some seeking donations, and we don't even know where that's going to go yet. But that's kind of a neat project for a littler kid. Or there was one little guy who was looking at getting teddy bears and other stuffed animals for kids who were in the hospital. Young people who, wow, they're isolated and they're not feeling so good. And, some of them have contagious diseases once they, interact with those stuffed animals. They have to go away. And so that's a resource that those people need to replenish over time. Now, those are smaller end projects. Slightly larger project. Mr. Seastrom's working on the Graffiti Busters trailer. And so they're identifying places where there's some graffiti. He's assembling a group of some of his teenage friends, and they're going to take the truck out and do some sanding and some repainting. And I thought, wow, isn't that appropriate that if teenagers are going to create some graffiti, isn't it neat for some other teenagers to be responsible for getting rid of it? A little bit bigger still, a project I'm hoping Ms. Dishaw is going to sink her teeth into has to do with getting some donations and materials of clothing for junior high school girls who, when they go back to school, don't have new clothes to wear. Maybe their parents are, in prison, or for some reason they're in foster care, and they just don't have new clothes for the new school year. And I can imagine being a 13 or 14 or 15-year-old girl, and maybe you've grown a little bit, and last year's clothes don't fit as well, and they're certainly not as fashionable as they're supposed to be. And how for a girl that age, that's got to be really unpleasant. And again, so what a neat project for a teenage girl to take on to try to help those girls out with that project. And then a larger scale project still, working with Mr. Wilson on creating a series, almost a season, of boxing smokers and using them as a fundraiser maybe for St. Ed's. And so that's a really big project. And so you can see projects scale from really small to really large. So why am I talking to you about this? One of them is, if you can think of a project that might be good for someone else, let me know. Because a lot of times I have students who say, wow, I'd like to do something, but I don't know what to do. So if you can think of a project, maybe it's not great for you, but it sounds like a neat project, let me know. If you'd like to do a project but you can't think of anything to do, please get with me. I'd love to help you brainstorm on a project you might be able to take on. And then if you can think up your own project, please come to me and say, hey, Coach, I've got this really neat idea, and I would love to help you, again, find the resources, the organization, the contacts to be able to take action on that. So again, action heroes, heroes through actions instead of violence, project-based leadership training, learning how to be leaders through taking action and providing service in the community. We identify a need or a way we can provide value. We accumulate and organize the necessary resources, and then you take action on that. And then there's some recognition associated with that as well.